This is a sad and painful true life story of Mr. Wilson, a dedicated laborer and staff in a particular company. In my workplace, I receive more than 1,000 letters and emails each month. Every single one passes through my hand. Most nights I barely sleep, staying awake to read and respond to them. Following my recent promotion, I had to relocate to a new office and take on additional responsibilities beyond my usual workload. Upon settling into the new office, I noticed a pile of neglected letters in a dusty corner. No one had opened, read, or even acknowledged them. Curious, I examined the stack and found that 19 of the letters were from the same individual. Same name, same phone number, same address, same request, same handwriting. As the janitor was about to discard them, I intervened and asked him to hand them over to me. I opened one and read it. It was addressed to our company's finance department. The sender, a laborer, had written the first letter in November 2019, pleading for his unpaid salary. He mentioned that he was gravely ill and needed the money for urgent medical treatment. He wrote that he had been diagnosed with hepatitis, which had severely damaged his liver. I read the second letter, the same plea. Tears had stained the paper, still visible within the envelope. I read the third, the fourth, all echoed the same desperate request. Since November 2019, he had been sending letters. The final one, dated August 10, 2020, begged the finance department to have mercy on him and his family, to unblock his phone number and to answer his calls. Confused, I wondered, who was blocking his calls? I decided to find out. Using my phone, I dialed the number listed in the last letter. It rang, no answer. I called again. This time, someone picked up. "Hello," I said. "Good afternoon." "Good afternoon," a woman's voice responded, her tone weary and pained. I introduced myself and explained why I was calling. Silence. Then she broke down in sobs. "He's lying here," she wept. "Who?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "The man you are asking for." "Can I speak with him?" "He can't talk anymore," she said, between gaps. "He's only breathing. He can't move. He doesn't even know I'm sitting beside him. I am his wife. We wrote so many letters, called so many times, but your company blocked our numbers and told us to stop disturbing them. His salary was withheld. We even sent people to your office, but they returned with nothing." She cried harder. "We are just waiting for him to go and rest." I was speechless. Tears welled in my eyes as she continued speaking. "He's dying. Every day by day, he fades a little more and more. The person answering our calls threatened us never to contact them again. My husband worked for your company for over 7 years. He gave everything to that job. Even when he was sick, he never missed a day. And yet, this is how he's been abandoned. What did he do to deserve this? We've begged for help, but no one came forward. We had to leave the city and return to the village. No money for medicine, no money to send him to a good healthcare facility, no money for food, no money for rent. I used up everything I had." Her words crushed me. Something was wrong. This wasn't the company I thought I knew. I asked for their village address. She told me. I traveled there. It was a remote settlement between two small towns. I lost my way several times before finally arriving there. I saw him lying on a thin mat in front of a modest house. His wife sat beside him, wafting away flies. She had just finished cleaning him up. His body was frail, his skin clinging to his bones. He showed no emotion, made no movement. His eyes were open but unfocused, barely shifting. He couldn't speak. He couldn't hear. A mere shadow of the man he once was. His wife looked at me through her tears. Even if he dies today, I am at peace, she whispered. At least he will rest. He has suffered enough. Maybe I will join him soon. I have nothing left. I was born only to bury the people I love. I left there with a heavy heart and tears in my eyes. Upon returning home, I sent them some food and supplies, as I had no money on me at the time. The next day at work, I reported the matter to my boss. I also confronted the head of the finance department about the unpaid wages. To my shock, he revealed that the man's salary has been approved and processed every month without interruption. But the payment had never reached him. The accountant responsible for disbursing the fund had been pocketing the money, knowing the man was too sick to come and collect it himself. Even worse, this accountant was someone the laborer and his wife trusted. Their letters and calls had been going directly to him, believing he was their link to the finance office. They had no idea he was the one betraying them. For nearly 2 years, he has stolen the man's earning, signing off on the payments and keeping the money for himself. He was arrested immediately. By the end of the day, he had returned every stolen penny from his savings. He was suspended, but I had made an enemy who didn't realize that his true enemy was himself. 2 of our directors visited the man and his wife, ensuring he was admitted to a good hospital for proper health care and treatment. A few days later, in the early hours of the morning, my phone rang. It was his wife. Her voice trembled, choked by sobs. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for fighting for us. Thank you for fighting for my husband. Thank you for everything." At least, before he left, I heard his voice again. He smiled at me. Then she broke completely. He's gone. He's gone to be with the Lord. He is with the Lord now. Tears streamed down my face as I listened in silence. How I wish he made it true. How I wish he fought through. But this is a story of Mr. Wilson, a very dedicated, hardworking man who worked for several years. The wicked accountant, he's in prison, paying dearly for his wickedness. The laborer, Mr. Wilson, was given a befitting burial, and his wife moved back to the city to find a new life for herself. Thank you for watching. Please do like, share, and subscribe for more interesting stories.